Chandler. He is the founder and chief strategist at CreditSense. He started early as an entrepreneur, and his business successes funded his attendance at Sacramento State University, where he acquired his Bachelor of Arts degree in ancient history. After graduating, he, along with a friend, founded Lexington Law Firm, which to date has become the largest credit repair organization in the country. It was at Lexington where he grew dissatisfied with the limited success of credit repair and seeing that consumers and borrowers were more interested in improving their credit scores instead of just deleting a few negative accounts. So he went on to found CreditSense. Mr. Chandler has used his extensive knowledge of credit reporting and credit profiling to single-handedly develop a credit optimization process that can create Tier 1 and even 800-plus credit scores. For over 15 years, he has been dominating the credit score optimization marketplace with his mission of helping people. Merrill, how are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Merrill, your company CreditSense stresses they provide credit optimization, not just credit repair. Explain to me and the audience the difference in those two terms.
Yeah, credit repair. I co-founded Lexington Law Firm, who is a great credit repair opportunity for people who want to get a couple negative items off. But what just like the introduction said, credit optimization is actually taking an individual's credit profile, everything, not just payment history, their identity, everything about their credit profile, and making it fit the FICO score model. So if you hit all of the cylinders, if you're hitting all of the measurable things that FICO looks for a good credit score, then your score goes up. If you don't have a great credit profile, if you're not hitting all those markers, then of course your score stays low or goes down. That's credit optimization, is making sure that you look exactly the way FICO wants you to look, and delivers that kind, and your score, of course, follows suit.
Right, and that's something that in just preparing for the show that I see that you stress the difference between being a credit repair optimization company versus a credit repair company. And in your bio, you noted that at Lexington Law Firm, you became dissatisfied with the results of credit repair. Why were you limited in what you could provide there versus what you can provide now at your company, CreditSense?
Sure, all credit repair basically has only one tool in their toolbox, and that's a hammer. And that hammer is basically challenging the credit bureaus to prove that an account is theirs, and if they can't prove it, it gets deleted, period. But many consumers out there don't have bad credit. Half of America has good credit, but they have, unfortunately, they have low scores, because those low scores isn't because they're not actually optimizing every piece of data that's measured by the scoring software. So credit optimization basically, again, tunes that credit engine so that you're firing on all cylinders. Credit repair simply deletes a couple negative items, and no one has ever gotten to a Tier 1 or even an 800 score by deleting some negative items. And what happens if, for all the people who had credit repair out there, what happens if you've gone through the gamut and a few items got deleted, but you still have some items left? Well, credit optimization can actually build a positive credit score around those derogatories. And those derogatories may not come off for 7 years, but you can still build credit score points by having the right kind of revolving accounts, the right kind of loans, the right aging. There are lots of ways that credit scores can drag down if you don't know how to build your profile correctly.
And you've got an 8-step process. We're going to cover that here in just a little bit in the interview to optimize a person's credit score. But first, let's take a moment to talk about the basics of credit. There are 3 well-known credit bureaus: Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. And then I just learned there's a lesser-known one out there, Innovis, I had never even heard of until I did my research on this topic. And there are differences in these credit scores depending on the bureau reporting. Which one is the industry leader, and why, or is there an industry leader?
Great observation. There is not an industry leader. There are spheres of influence. The Southeast is dominated by Equifax out of Atlanta. The Northeast and Midwest is dominated by TransUnion, which is out of Chicago, and of course the West tends to be dominated by Experian. Now, there's exceptions to that, but there are spheres of influence. But most of the major lenders out there report to all three. The problem is that accuracy is not always their best trait. So unless something is accurately and consistently reported, you can lose credit score points. Here's something that most people don't know, and your listeners will find extremely valuable. There is not a credit score attached to the credit bureaus. Scores are added after the fact by scoring software when you download it off the internet, or when you go get a mortgage, or when you go get a car. The actual score that you receive or that you're evaluated by is added after the information is downloaded.
And the company that generates these scores, am I correct in saying that it's always FICO, which was Fair Isaacs, or are there other companies out there that have produced these algorithms to generate these scores for people?
Astute observation. No, we call them FICO scores.
Okay.
If it doesn't have the FICO, which is Fair Isaac Company, if it doesn't have the Fair Isaac logo, registered trademark, it is a FICO score. Okay. 95% of lenders use FICO, but everything you download from the internet when you buy, creditreport.com or freescore.com or any of those things, other than myfico.com, which sells FICO scores, everything is a FICO score. Everything is an estimation. Everything is a different algorithm that cannot be used by the lenders. So unless you know what you're being measured by, you can't make the changes necessary on your profile to create a positive high score.
Gotcha. Now, one question I've always wondered, how does information get reported to credit bureaus? For instance, does it have to originate from an entity licensed to report to them? I mean, for example, if I run a lawn company and you don't pay me, I can't go complain to a bureau. How does that work? How does information get reported?
They're called subscribers. Organizations, usually the larger organizations, subscribe to the credit bureau, bureaus. So normally, most people want access to a credit report, right?
Right.
So they pay for those credit reports. But the bureaus kind of make it a nice little trade and say, oh, but if you report, your people will reduce the price of these credit reports. So instead of them being $15 or $20 per report, they're like, you can pull a single bureau for $2.85 or $3. So they want all the reporting to come from this new lender. So most, like I said, an outfit who is mowing your lawn usually isn't a subscriber to the credit bureaus. But if they send it to a collection agency, most collection agencies are subscribers to the bureaus, and that's how it would end up on your report.
Gotcha. Some great information here. Merrill, hang tight here. I got to take a quick word from my sponsors here. But if you're just tuning in, you've been listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 WINS, WHNZ. Stay tuned. Back in a moment, we're going to have more with Merrill Chandler on credit optimization. Thanks for staying tuned in, everybody. You're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 WINS WHNZ. On air, we got Merrill Chandler. He is the chief strategist at CreditSense, and we've been talking all about credit optimization here in this first segment. So, Merrill, I know we touched on it here in the first segment, but I want to kind of go back to and visit this again real quick. You hear so much about what is your FICO score and what is your Beacon score. Explain to the audience what and who FICO is and what a Beacon score is and how that's all interrelated with the credit bureaus.
Sure. A FICO score is an algorithm that was created by Fair Isaac Company that basically Fair Isaac rented the information from the three credit bureaus and ran tests on borrower behavior, payment histories, and all kinds of behaviors for the borrowers, and did hundreds of millions of these transactions on hundreds of millions of borrowers. And so they created this score that basically protects the lender and is able to predict how much money the lender is going to get back, and even how much money they may make. The average, there is a sweet spot here that is FICO has predicted, this is another interesting fact, that at about 690 to 710, the FICO indicates that 95% of the money that is loaned will come back. The crazy thing is that's actually a Tier 3 charge. So you're not going to get, Tier 1 for a mortgage is 740. Mm-hmm. Tier 1 for a car is 720. So they get to charge, lenders get to charge more interest, even though they know 95% of their money is coming back to them, because that's what FICO proves out. Mm-hmm. So there's kind of, everybody has a profit motive, and they're using the numbers to their favor. Credit optimization says, what is FICO measuring? And let's make sure we're getting every point possible from what on everything the FICO measures. That's the difference between simple writing letters to credit bureaus, hoping something comes off, and real optimizing your credit profile to get credit score points.
Now, there's a lot of secrecy behind these formulas. Do each of these credit bureaus have a different algorithm, or is there one universal? Obviously, there's not one universal algorithm because you're getting different results. But how closely are these algorithms related?
All the FICO scores are estimations. They're not FICO and not used by lenders. And you'll find some are within a few points. Some can be 30 or 40 points away from a FICO score. One thing your listeners also need to know is FICO has 85 products, 85 different software packages, because different purchases are weighted differently. You go to a mortgage company, the FICO algorithm is weighted towards how well you have done or how poorly you have done with your mortgage. Same with vehicles. They pull a FICO score, but it is weighted towards past car payments and how well you've done or how poorly you've done, so it counts more for you or more against you. Same with leasing and tenants, renters, credit cards. There is a FICO software algorithm that weights everybody according to what the borrower is trying to acquire in this particular application.
Now, a credit score has about 5 different components. The biggest and most heavily weighted seems to be the payment history. It seems to be that's about 35%. And then 30% is credit utilization, 15% length of credit history, and then 10% is the type of credit that you're using, and 10% is recent credit searches. And I want to ask about that because you hear so often that every time your credit is pulled, your score goes down. Is this true? And elaborate on this a little bit more.
Yes, it's true. Inquiries cause your score to go down. High-ticket items, they kind of bunch the inquiries together. So if you're shopping for a home, you have 2 or 3 mortgage companies or loan officers pull your credit within 30 days, all of those count against you only once. What nobody tells you is that you look like an unsophisticated borrower when you have multiple pulls for even the large ticket items. There is a lot to be said. Those 5 categories is kind of what we call, that's the party line. That's what they tell you that the FICO score measures, is those different, your payment history, card account types, inquiries, and all those things. What they don't tell you is all of the little pieces in each one of those 5 areas. Let me give a perfect example. Did you know that a Visa or MasterCard from a national bank with branches, the city banks, the mortgages, Citibank, Chase, Wells Fargo, etc., they are worth, to your credit report, they are worth 2.5 times any credit card that comes from the mall. Your Victoria's Secrets, your Home Depots, your Buckles, your Expresses, right. Any of those credit cards are worth 40% of a national bank or MasterCard. So if you have it on your credit profile, you're actually limiting your score because you're only getting 40% of the points instead of 100% of points by having a Visa MasterCard from a national bank. An American Express and Discover is only worth 80% of a national bank Visa or MasterCard. So what you have, they don't tell you in those 5 areas of how this credit score is measured, they don't tell you what types of cards you need to have. They just tell you we evaluate them. So these are this is part of the optimization knowledge that we convey to our clients and to borrowers, is that it is vital to have the right types of cards. Here's some interesting things. Did you know too many credit cards, your score goes up, but too few credit cards, your score goes down. There is a perfect amount of revolving.
That's definitely good
Wrong
information.
types of credit cards. I just showed you. You can have if you have anything from the mall, you're only getting 40% of the points. So the wrong types of credit cards, your score goes down. Too high balances, your score goes down. But too low balances, they want you to carry a balance. Paying your credit card off every month actually doesn't get you the maximum number of points. Mm-hmm. Too many loans, your scores go down. Too few loans, your scores are capped. Wrong types of loans, and there are wrong types of loans, your score goes down. So there are all of these indicators that we know, and we help people build the right profile. And the right profile, of course, for people who are just trying to get a mortgage or get a car, we can help them just hit the right score so that they can get the best rates possible. But many of your listeners, real estate investors, people who want to leverage their financial reputation to create wealth, they want 800 plus credit scores because lenders throw money at 800 plus credit scores. So since we know what FICO measures, we can build the profile that supports that 800 plus credit score. And that's what's fascinating to our leverager clients, our clients who want to make money using their credit.
Gotcha. Merrill, now your company CreditSense states that they can take a person through this 8-step program to an 800 credit score. And this is all broken down on your website, CreditSense.com. I mean, step 1, you're going to organize, a path to credit score growth. In step 2, you talk about creating a credit score point producing identity. There's a lot of great information here. One thing I learned in there, certain lenders are at a greater risk of harming your credit than others. Can you elaborate on that a little bit, please?
Absolutely. That's what I'm referring to. You can have the wrong kind of loans. Loans from finance companies. I don't want to name names and create enemies, but if it's a finance company loan, you're actually red flagging your credit. You can put the wrong kinds of credit card if you're trying to get a secured card. And if you Google bestsecuredcreditcards.com or best secured credit cards in a Google search, every one of those cards, every single one of them will actually red flag your credit profile. There's 10 or 20 of them listed. The reason why they're listed is because people make money if your listeners sign up on those things. But they literally red flag. So that's what we mean by finding the right mix of accounts. But even post-bankruptcy or post-divorce, people who are trying to recover from financial tragedy can build a perfect profile from the ground up. Because when you have the building blocks, you can make the perfect profile right from the outset. For people who are still in the game, in the credit game, we can optimize it and kind of take the square peg of their profile and fit it into the round hole that FICO measures perfectly. And there is a perfect profile, and our target is to make sure every single client fits that perfect profile, and their scores will follow.
Yeah, it looks like you've definitely got a great plan here, and just looking over the other steps, and I'm running up against, a hard break here, so unfortunately, not going to be able to get as much information out as I like, but your plan takes them through recovering lost credit score points in step 3. Step 4, you show your customers how to manage their bills for credit score growth. Step 5, you want to optimize your revolving accounts for credit score growth. Step 6, improve your credit score with your installment loans. Step 7, grow your credit score using inquiries. And then finally, in Step 8, leverage your credit score for new wealth. So, Merrill, this has been some great information here. And before we, have to cut this one short, go ahead and give the contact information for yourself and your company out to the audience.
Absolutely. Call us at 855-851-5198. That's 855-851-5198. Again, 855-851-5198. And you go to CreditSense.com. Sense as in common sense. CreditSense.com. And at CreditSense, We offer a free credit analysis for any of the listeners on your show, Jamie. We are committed to letting people know that they have the power to make a change. They don't have to use our services. We're going to tell them where they are bleeding or hemorrhaging credit score points, and these analyses are an hour long. You will find it. It is not a sales pitch. It is literally we review your credit profile and show you where you're missing your points, and show you what you need to do so.
All right, sounds good. Merrill, thank you very much for coming on the air. And again, if you didn't get that information, you can reach out to me through my website, tampabayradio.com, and I can put you in touch with them. Merrill, thank you very much for coming on the show.